Okay, we are live. Yeah, what an amazing time to be alive, isn't it? We're going to talk about the Epstein files, and what I'm going to tell you is that the elites, the so called elites, they're not better than us. They are actually much worse. They are dumb and they are evil. Now, of course, not all of them, but it seems to be a culture of ignorance, pure stupidity, and a complete lack of empathy. So, this should be very clear now um, that journalists across the globe are reading through millions of files, millions. It's going to take months. Reading through the Epstein files. And it's obvious. These people are not bright. These people are not bright. So let me ask you the following. If someone, let's say a business associate or something like that, you got a request, maybe an email, or maybe a friend of a friend or something like that, and they told you that, listen, why don't you come over to this tropical island? You know what? There's going to be lots of girls there, and they will be, you can have some fun with those girls. They are willing and very young, and many of them are models and so on. You can just have sex with them whenever you like. Wouldn't you kind of think to yourself that that's a bit suspicious? Wouldn't you kind of think that even if you view yourself as a very, very attractive man, wouldn't you think that it's a bit strange? It's a bit odd. Why would there be so many young women on that tropical island? And why are you now being guaranteed sexual intercourse with those women? Anyone who can think would then think the following: oh, that sounds tempting, but I think those women must be prostitutes because of logic. I mean, why would they be there? So that's what a normal person would think. And then you would say, you know what? I don't think that's okay. I don't want to go somewhere and have sex with prostitutes because I think that's actually wrong. I might not be perfect, but that's kind of outside of my that's something I can't morally accept. That would be the normal reaction. But if you have a combination of stupidity, ignorance, and a lack of empathy, you would probably think it's okay. You would probably go there. And I had you might not know this, but I was asked several years ago if I wanted to be part of a political party to, here in locally, and I was there. I was there for, I don't know. I was member for a year, I think, and who I witnessed the process. Who were elected for these positions. Now, I don't have any experience from business life because I've been an author my whole life, but that's my limited experience. But I could see that it was not the brightest, most talented people who were elected. It was the people who were obedient to the system and also popular in a social setting. Those two factors seemed to be what got people elected. And I think it's the same with these people here. Now, I used to say that Elon Musk is probably a very bright person. I'm not going to say that anymore because he might be intelligent, but I don't think he's very bright. He asked to go to the wildest party on that island. I mean, he's been lying, of course, and I tried my best to put a lot of faces of the known associates of Jeffrey Epstein on the thumbnail, but there are so many, and these are top globalists, politicians, royals, celebrities, um, and there's an obvious connection. I didn't talk about that yesterday, but there's an obvious connection to Israeli intelligence. I mean, come on, it's obvious, but I don't think that's the important part here. The important part is that the elites can so easily be honey trapped. They can so easily be put in a position where you can blackmail them. And I mean, he made a lot of money that way. I'm completely certain about that. Um, so, yeah, these people are not bright. They are not bright. So, if you have ever thought to yourself that if only you were more talented, more intelligent, and so on, you would have been more successful. Well, I, it helps, but it won't get you to that elite level because you only get into that, accepted into that club if you are stupid enough to be put in positions where people can use you. And you're only accepted into that club of the elites if you have a lack of empathy. If you're the kind of person who, let's say you went to a party and you saw prostitution going on there, or drugs and stuff like that, if you're the sort of person who would have reported that to the police, you will not be accepted into that club of the elites, because don't want people like that in that club. They want to keep doing their thing, and that's an evil thing that they are doing. Now, I've had enough of these people now. I've had enough, and I think it's time we tear them down. Now, I'm not saying that you should use violence, but these people must be called out. This must be a change. Now, we need a change now. And I'm like, fucking hell, I'm so annoyed by this. This is going to be a rant, by the way, because I'm so annoyed. And you can relate to the following. I have worked so hard my whole life. I worked myself into chronic pain. I have to take painkillers in order to work. I mean, and I there's a ceiling. I'm under the ceiling now. There is a ceiling. And I'm looking back, and there's been many examples. Now, Norway is a small country, but there are many examples of how I've just been left out. And that's probably because I've been quite vocal about what's right and what's wrong. And I'm done. Fucking hell, I'm done not talking about this now. And I'm going to tell you all of the things I know about these people. And I know quite a bit, actually. So, I'm bitter as well, because this is not fair. So, okay. One thing that I did know was the Crown Princess Mette-Marit's The Norwegian crown. I'm Norwegian, by the way. If you're new to this channel, the crown princess Mette-Marit's connections to no, not connections. I have to practice saying it as it is. Her sexual connections with Jeffrey Epstein. Now, I don't have proof for that, but a long time ago, I was told by someone who was a friend of Ari Behn. He was married to the to the princess. So the princess' sister's husband, and he committed suicide. Um, and his friend told me that, yeah, she was over there, the crown princess having a relationship with Jeffrey Epstein. And at the time, I thought, well, can that be true? I don't know. But here's the thing, all of these things that I have been told up through the years, all of these things that people are saying, every single thing has come true, has been proven. Now, again, we will probably never have a proof that would held up in court that they had a sexual relationship, but come on. I mean, if you read the messages, that's a romantic relationship. That's how you message. That's how a man and a woman message each other when at least she has romantic feelings for the guy. Come on. I mean, let's stop kidding ourselves here. And that was after she wrote that she had Googled him after he was first convicted for um, as a sexual predator with an underage girl. Who the fuck continues a relationship with a man who's been convicted for normal people wouldn't do that. Normal people would say they would either just not answer any more messages and not send any more messages and just close that door and run away, or they would send a message, I googled you, I'm shocked, I will not hear from you anymore, and I'm going to the police. Mick Jagger, you know he's admitted years ago that he had sex with a 14-year-old girl. Why the hell is he not in jail? Why? Noam Chomsky, the guy that his middle name is the moral high ground. He's been criticizing the elites his whole life. Well, he was there with Jeffrey Epstein. Now I can't remember if he was on the island or just. I've seen the photo. He was on the Lolita Express airplane. Bill Gates. I mean, if unless you've been living under a rock, he's not a good man. I mean, the guy who said who kind of decided what you should have injected into your body during the COVID crisis, who is not a scientist, not a doctor, by the way. He was like a long-term friend of Epstein, and he was on the island there. And well, was he on? I'm not sure if it was on the island. Doesn't matter if they were on the island. I mean, this was going on in many other places as well. And there is even an instance where they sent one of these poor girls on a plane to, was it, well, somewhere in Europe. He sent one of these poor girls there. Donald Trump. Now he's a sort of person who's lying so that he believes it himself. Long-term relationship with Jeffrey Epstein. I don't think Donald Trump is very bright now, but he was quite I've said before that he was quite bright before, because when you listen to him, he seems very bright, like years ago, but he must have been extremely dumb. And he's probably kept in a position like that because he was useful. I think he's actually a fucking idiot. Um, Steve Bannon, the list goes on and on and on. No, I don't think this is a distraction from digital ID. This is just a case in itself, and we need to talk about this. Yeah, Woody Allen, well, he is a fucking pedophile. We already knew that. He married his adoptive daughter. Um, so I will put it this way: if any of these people are actually intelligent, they have, they must have a complete lack of empathy. And that's a trademark of when you don't have empathy, you're a sociopath or a psychopath. And I do believe that many of these people are sociopaths. No, I don't think we are being distracted from anything. This is something in itself. We need to be able to keep several ideas, several thoughts in our minds at the same time. We know about the digital ID. This, you know, uh, please don't go there, because this must not be forgotten. You need to understand what's going on here, and you need to see the connections between Epstein and Israeli intelligence. This explains a lot of why. Listen, it kind of works like this. So they have this guy who was brought up in a kind of actually a closed gate Jewish community. And then he's actually propped up and being used as an asset for the Israeli intelligence. Um, and he honey traps powerful, important people. Can't you see how that is very useful for the Israeli government? It's very simple. I do believe that he got into that. He started doing that on his own. It might have been how it started, but it looks like he saw that as a business on its own. So, yeah. Now this is the time. This is the time. This is a time when we all need to show some guts, a little bit of bravery, actually. And if we don't, this thing will be over when the next big thing happens. That might be a war, it might be a ceasefire, it might be whatever. But I'm so sick and tired of these people being protected. It needs to stop. Now, you remember Pizzagate? You remember those conspiracy theories about how the so-called elites were involved in trafficking of young girls and all of that, that they were having parties, getting together, having sex with prostitutes, many of them underage. Yeah, that was called a conspiracy theory. So this is a message to all of the people who laughed at that and said that that's a QAnon conspiracy theory, and that's just nonsense. It's not like that, you know. The, you need to apologize if you call that a conspiracy theory, because it's not. And this is obvious now. Now, there are videos on YouTube about Epstein's connections to Israel. It's not complicated. It's like other people have done very good journalistic digging on this now, and the information is out there. So I'm not going to get into that too much. What I want to say here, what I think is important here, is that these people are not in these powerful positions because they are so talented. They are in those positions because they have a combination of personal traits that you don't have. And you don't have those personal traits because you're a good human being. These people are not. These people are willing to accept cocaine parties, prostitutes being locked in bedrooms and chained, and they are willing to accept that and be part of it too, many of them. And if they don't like it, they are able to just turn their back to that and smile and raise their champagne glass. And these people are kept in these positions. That's the key word, kept in these positions, not because they're so great and amazing, talented, and intelligent. They are kept there because they're useful. And when they are not useful anymore, well, an astounding amount of these people suicide themselves, or they fall out of hotel rooms or off of yachts and so on. It's obvious what's going on here. So let's get to the chat. Hi, Jeffrey. Wes is here. Sharp K9s. KP Heathen. Now Adam says, yes, duh. We have known this for a long time. Being in the limelight does not mean you're a great person. It has always been like this. You should also include athletes, sports people like the chairman of FIFA. Oh, yeah, of course. Let's see here. Let's scroll up. They ain't human. They are born from fallen angels. No. Let's not go there. Were young boys being trafficked too? I don't know. Yeah, stop paying taxes. I wish I could. But sadly, we live under the threat of violence, and we do. Try not paying taxes. So eventually they will come to put you in jail, and if you resist, they will use violence. So yeah, we live under the threat of violence. Super Scion Hankill says everyone needs to talk about this now. Yeah. Adam says it's about Satanism. No, this is not. No, that's a little bit like if everything looks like if all you got is a hammer, everything looks like a nail kind of thinking. Jeffrey says New Mexico Ranch is very much what's happening. Yeah. So there was the Mexico, isn't the Mexico or New Mexico ranch? I can't remember. And there's the mansion in Florida and the island, and and these places had bedrooms, and apparently a lot of these bedrooms had cameras, hidden cameras. Why hidden cameras? Because he was blackmailing people. um, New Mexico Ranch. Okay, thank you. Palm Beach, Florida. Yeah. This was all conspiracy 10 years ago. Yeah, yeah. So 10 years ago, this was still going on. Um, and what needs to happen now is the following. Um, there needs to be. It will take months for people to go through these files. You forgot Erica Kirk in that thumbnail. I didn't have space for more people there. I did my best in a hurry. I just wanted to get on live here on this topic. But what needs to happen now is that they need to go through these files. And by the way, there are people who have access to these files that are not redacted. But they need to go through these files unredacted, and they are doing that now. And they need to build multiple court cases. I don't know, is that how you say it? Court case, like when people are brought in before the court and because they've done something bad. Because if like it's difficult to prove, I think, if someone is being trafficked. As far as I understand, it can be difficult to prove, but the age thing is very simple to prove. Um, so when someone, let's say Prince Andrew, and that's one of the most obvious examples. Uh, if he had sex with an underage girl, that's illegal, obviously, and then he must be brought before the court and sentenced, and they need to do this in every single case. Every single case. All of these people must be tried before court, and they need to be, well, if they are guilty, they must be sentenced. They must be punished for that, prison sentence, and it will take many years. But this is important because many of the victims are still alive. I mean, some of them have, as far as I understand, it was a system of, as prostitution often is, they make these girls dependent, addicted to drugs, and there was probably a lot of that going on. I don't know that for sure, but that seems to be what these people do. And that is, of course, something that leads to suicide and so on. And I'm not going to bleep out those words. I'm not going to say unalive. They can demonetize this live stream. I don't fucking care. So some of these have probably committed suicide. I know one case that's I can't remember the name now, but those who are still alive, they need to see that they are being that justice happens. They need that. They need that. They are human beings, and I think that it will help them if they can see that there is some justice, and that these powerful people are not above the law. That is what needs to happen now. So you could say, why do I put these faces on the thumbnail when they have not been proven guilty? Well, they have been proven guilty. That's the thing. They have been proven guilty maintaining a relationship with Epstein after he was committed the first time. And by my moral standards, if you uphold a relationship with someone who has been convicted for, well, it's rape, it is, and someone, an underage girl, uh, and all of that. If you continue that relationship with that person, you are guilty of doing that. Now you might say that that's not a criminal offense, but you know what? It makes you deserve being on that thumbnail. At least it makes you deserve being shamed publicly. And like the Norwegian crown princess, she's and the royal family, they're still saying that, oh, she didn't know. That's a lie. She 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 wrote in an email to him, I googled you. That was after he had been convicted first time. I googled you. It doesn't look good. Smiley face, wink, wink. So she knew. She knew, and that can't be, should never ever be forgiven. So yeah, Bill Gates is also an obvious example. He needs to be in jail. He's also a danger to world health. He's a danger to world health, and he needs to be in jail. And not in jail like Jeffrey Epstein was the first time, when he was allowed to leave jail to go to work every day. um, so yeah, groom of the stool. Yeah, I know. They wipe the royal bottom. Yeah, it's a sick system. That's the royals. It's sick, and there's a large degree of inbreeding as well in the royal families. Yeah, Trond saying, I'm sick and tired of the Norwegian politicians who claim they didn't know of the past. Not only do they act as dumb, they actually are. Yeah. So you're talking about two. So in Norway, if you didn't know, there are two top politicians. At least one of them connected to the Nobel Peace Prize Institute. You see how this all comes together, you know? Trump wanting the Peace Prize, expecting to get the Peace Prize, and all of that, and Epstein, and it's all connected. Yeah, so Jagland, he used to he's a Labour politician. He doesn't have any positions of power now, but he used to be the Prime Minister of Norway. And he's guilty as fuck, and he's denying this now. And I think he's always been very stupid, a very stupid man. And you can hear that when he's talking. He is a stupid man, and I think he will be the first one in Norway to go, like, go in the sense that this actually will have concrete consequences for him. And that's because he denies this still. He's still denying this. He won't win that battle. He will lose, and it will happen very quickly as well. So yeah, he's a very dumb man. Um, so Jeffrey says Trump knows his supporters will forget about all of this. Yeah, I think that some people are willing to dissociate from the truth. Um, I often use the COVID crisis as an example of things. I think that it is a lot of people have an easier time disassociating from the truth than actually accepting the truth for what it is, and the consequences that comes with that. Um, um, let's see. Yeah. So basically, um, what I my message here in this live stream is that this system is rigged, and I can tell you how the future is going to look like, because it's all fucked. And it is all fucked because it's just the same shit. I'm using a lot of rude words. If you don't like that, maybe this live stream here is not for you, but I think, yeah. But anyway, if we go back to, a few hundred years, you will see that it was exactly like this. It's just the same. It's just that they have other tools now, and but basically you're being kept there as a cog in the machinery. And while these people vacation, they have their vacations on tropical islands, you are expected to work until you drop. And it's like, if you if you're young now, if you're like 30, you're not going to get a pension, like a state pension. It's because the money will not be there. And I'm like, I'm 53, and I'm supposed to work until I'm 67 at this rate that I'm working now. And I'm not working. It's a rigged system. It's sick. I work basically this whole year. I work. I must work quite a lot to pay my taxes. That's how sick it is. And I'm so fucking tired of this. And I'm not going to get rich. I know that, because I'm never going to get to that level. And to get to that level, I used to think, because maybe I was a little bit stupid, that if I just work harder and I write better books, that I just improve my craft, then I will make my fortune that way. I was so stupid. But that's because that has nothing to do with it. I'm so sick and tired of this. The royal family, they had a vacation at one of these tropical islands in Caribbean, the whole family. You know what? I would have liked to take my kids to a place like that once, but I can't afford it. Who can afford that? Well, I think maybe if you live in the USA, it's cheaper to go there. Um, I can't afford that, and I make good money. I do. I'm not going to lie to you. I make good money, but it's like just and I don't spend much money. I mean, you've seen me in this sweater, this jacket here for years now. I don't buy much. Um, and by the way, if you're going to tell me, oh, you have a lot of outdoors equipment, yeah, but as I've told you in the outdoors videos, most, if not all of that, is sent to me. You buy it because they get, I get free stuff and they get get some exposure in my videos. So, and I honestly don't know if you're like a single mother and you make uh, $60,000 a year here in Norway, how you can make ends meet. I don't see how that is possible anymore. And these people, like the royal family, like not the whole royal family, but the prince, the crown princess, and I suppose their kids, they were on vacation there on a Caribbean island in a tropical paradise. And it was too boring for the crown princess. I mean, it's so taxing to be there by the pool with a drink and having everything put in front of you and whenever you want it. It's so taxing. Oh, so she messaged with Epstein and oh, it's no fun here. I want to be with you in Florida. No, or was it the island? No, I think it was in Florida. So she went there and had some fun. These people, these people are not good people. These people, they don't care about you. It might look like that because they are put in positions where, like the royals, they sometimes they meet school children. They visit a school and they talk with the school children, and they seem like nice people, and because that's their job. But it's all fucking fake, because at the same time, these people are also deeply involved with pure criminals, child traffickers. What is the Norway tax rate? Well, for me, it's about 50% for most of my income. No, it's not 50%. It's well, if you the income tax only, it's for most people it's around 40%. I would say. So yeah, it's like they live a completely different life, and it is the same with these people in business, in the corporate world. Um, it is the same, because I don't think that it's the most talented people who are put in these positions of power and giving a very high salary. I don't think so. I think it's the people who are good at mingling at cocktail parties, the people who are willing to accept whatever, people who don't have moral standards. And they are so practical and useful in those positions. And yeah, you're never going to be part of that club because you know what? You don't want to. And I don't want to because we are good people. Or at least we try to be good people. We try to be good people. I think that's the key here. Um, we might make mistakes, but we try our best. And I, again, I must emphasize this one thing. If you see something that is wrong and unjust, like very young people on a tropical island in probably skimpy clothing, um, maintaining a very close physical thing with middle-aged, unattractive men. If you see that, because that's not natural. It, I mean, why? If you see that and you're not a fool, you know that you're looking at prostitution, and I think that's morally wrong, very, very wrong. And those morals, I see there is some talk about Satanism and so on here in the chat, but those morals, they do not come from religion. They come from empathy. I can real what's the word? I can it might sound strange, but it's about being able to put yourself in someone else's position, you know. Um, and when you see a girl like that, your first, as a middle-aged man, or whoever you are, actually, your first thought should be that's someone's daughter. She probably do not want to be here. She would rather have a boyfriend her own age, or at least not 50 plus and fat. you know uh, why is she here? This is wrong. Now, of course, there are women who like older men, but it's obvious that they're not there because they like older men. That's not why they were there. So yeah. Royas, welcome as a member to the channel. Thank you for that. Thank you. We're not going to accept God and Satan talk here. It's just not. If that's what you need, if you really, really need to write that, you should go somewhere else. The God Satan thing. We need to be a little bit more intelligent than that. You can be a Christian, that's fine, but this is about greed and bad people doing bad things. So, yeah, Jeffrey says the real issue was they were selling and using the young women, very powerful men using young, naive women. Yeah, I also heard that there was a connection to Victoria's Secret, someone handling the Victoria's Secret models or something like that. And I heard something about it being Uh, Sorry. Danny Boy says, bullshit, I pay 23%. Are you Norwegian? Well, then I don't know. But what I said about how much tax I pay and how much tax people are paying, that's not a lie. But anyway, so Epstein would try to get girls into his circle by kind of promising a prospect of being a Victoria's Secret model, and that's a well-known way to recruit these very young girls. Oh yeah, thank you, Kat. Les Wexner owns me. Yeah, less. Yeah, 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 yeah. Sharp Canine says modeling jobs were promised. And yeah, Jeffrey says Wexner was well known for his connection to Israel. There is a very, very clear connection to Israel here. And one can wonder, or we can kind of, it will be interesting to see how world politics change when this Pandora's box have been opened and all of the skeletons are out of the closet and all of that. Because I think that a lot of world politics is actually um, wars, alliances, money. It functions largely in a system of almost, well, as sort of blackmailing. They have something on everyone, and they can help people become presidents and so on, or they can destroy their careers. You get what I'm saying here? So maybe things will change. But this is just one. This is just one of probably many such elite clubs. Yeah. Okay. Jay says, yeah, it's for sure a blackmailer's world at the top end. I'm convinced a good person cannot make it in politics, for example, unless they are playing the same game. Roya says when he posts about the Queen of Norway, it's not the Queen of Norway, it is the Crown Princess. And then you're writing, I thought it was one of your typical rants against the Norwegian family, you mean the royal family. But as I did my research, I couldn't believe it had to be her. Well, you see, I've known things, and there is more. There is more. I know a lot more about these people. And yeah, I know, I've known about this for years. Not the details concerning Epstein, but yeah, everyone's saying, oh, she was his girlfriend. They've been saying that for years. And it's like her daughter is being called the Snow Princess because of her cocaine use. That's also something that everyone's saying now. You know, and now today, actually, they will be voting the Norwegian version of the Congress. They will be voting whether we should get rid of the monarchy and instead have a republic. But I'm pretty sure they will vote that uh, no, we should keep the monarchy, and I think that's a big mistake. Um, and also today they are beginning the court case against the crown princess's son. I call him the royal rapist because he's being the reason why um, he's in prison actually now is because well he the accusation is like drug trafficking, violence, and rapes in plural. So you see, these people, it's not like it's if they were not the royal family, they would have been seen as a very bad criminal family, because that's what they are, you know. So you have let's just go through that. The father, the crown princess, he is a person who accepts that his wife goes away and spends time, 4 days at least, on one occasion in a convicted sex offender's luxury house mansion. Uh, if your spouse or girlfriend or boyfriend had said that, oh, listen, I'm just going to go over to the USA, and I'm going to live in this house and mansion, and a guy's house. Yeah, that would be enough right there to say, okay, so you want a divorce then, in other words. But it gets worse, like, oh, and by the way, he's a convicted sex offender. Um, it's like I I kind of pity him in a way, because he clearly doesn't have any balls. Um, and then you have, of course, the crown princess, who have a past with narcotics. Um, there is a video apparently of her from her younger years doing narcotics off of a black woman's tits. Yeah. Um, so, yeah, it's not within the normal at all. And now, of course, she had many, many years of relation with Jeffrey Epstein after he was first convicted. So that's the mother. Then you have three kids. One of the kids I don't know anything so much about, but the daughter is just called the Snow Princess. And an image surfaced where it looks like she's using drugs. And then you have the son who's yeah, he was arrested yesterday because he was threatening people with a knife, drug trafficking, rapes, violence. What would you call a family like that? It's this a dysfunctional, yeah, yeah, dysfunctional family. Um, the police, if you have a family like that, the police, at least here in Norway, they keep an eye on you, like the whole family. I mean, come on, it's not. It's yeah, I lack the words to describe a family like that. But they are royals, so they are instead propped up, and up until recently they were the image that the public image was that these were perfect people, wonderful people, kind people. Um, yeah. Uh, yeah, I don't know. Some days I don't even know what to say. I'm tired. Um, the Iran USA war. I'm not informed enough about that. Um, sorry. I will look into it when I have time. No, I say time, but actually it's energy when I have energy for that. Sharp Canine is saying you don't get wealthy being kind. Yeah, but don't get me wrong here. I mean, there are rich people out there who absolutely deserve their wealth, absolutely, because they did work hard. And but when you're talking about these people who are billionaires, I think very often they manage to get so wealthy because not because of their talent. I mean, do you realize how much a billion is? It's to save up 1 million. 1 million. That's hard to do. It can be done if you're wise and you live frugally. It can be done. So 1 million, and that can keep you. That can support your old age. 1 million, but very few people manage to do that. But when you're talking about being a billionaire, that's 1,000 times more money. 1,000 times more. And I have invested. I'm saving up money. I've done it for years, and I realize that I'm never going to become a billionaire. I might be able to save up 1 million, the equivalent of $1 million, um, but not 10 million, and not 100 million, and not 1,000 million. That's never going to happen. Um, yeah, interesting here. They don't make money by saving; they make money by using debt to create wealth. Yes, but this is kind of a different topic, but it is interesting too because they don't go to the bank to borrow money. They make deals with people about borrowing money. They borrow each other money, and they create these eternity machines, almost perpetuum mobile, where it goes around and around. It's kind of all fake money. Uh, and I think you can only do that if you are connected to the right, quote unquote, right people. And that, again, we see how these connections, these personal connections, are so important here. You could say that, well, if you borrowed money from someone who was on connected to Epstein, um, and then you say, I know what you did. I know what you did there. I'm going to go to the police. And then this person says, well, if you do that, I will demand that you pay back the money tomorrow, and that will bankrupt you, you know? So, Laura is asking, is the Norwegian royal family the same family as several hundreds years ago? No, it's not. It's they were we did not. So history lesson here. Norway basically was a colony through the medieval ages after the 1200s, under Denmark and Sweden, and we didn't have our own royal family, so they were imported from Europe. I think they are called Gluckstein or something like that. They're not Norwegian. It's not a Norwegian family. They were imported because when Norway became a nation again in 1905, then you know um, the rich landowners wanted to create nobility in Norway, and they would be part of, and because for that to happen, they needed to import a king, so they did. And he never learned. He was Danish, and he never learned Norwegian, by the way, which is quite amazing. Um, so yeah, it's a fake royal family, actually. Uh, let's see. Mike is asking, do you think the members of the Norwegian royal family who are addicted to drugs should be forced to participate in rehabilitation programs? Yes, I absolutely believe that they should. I think all people. So I think that uh, narcotic substances should be illegal. I am against the liberalization of such things. And I think that people who are addicted should be, they should have to go through rehabilitation programs. Absolutely. Yeah. Um, and anyone dealing with drugs should be put in jail, by the way. One of the Swedish royals is also in the files, one of the women there. And of course, Prince Andrew and from England, and is one of the sons there of Charles, the head king. Uh, yeah. Um, but they will find more and more and more. It's almost by the hour now. Let's see. I'll be checking. I'll check. I'll check the latest one here. uh, hold on, just checking the Norwegian news because it's almost by the hour. Oh yeah. Richard Branson. Bring the harem, he wrote to Epstein. Richard Branson. The guy who has been, I believe, speaking about morals, like the environment and so on. Barbara says, I just heard that there are 3 million more items in the Epstein files that are not going to be released. Are they not going to be released? Okay. I I think they will eventually. I'm just looking here. Um, yeah, also Børge Brende, he's the head of the World Economic Forum, connected to Epstein. The World Economic Forum. You will own nothing and you will be happy. Isn't it funny how it all comes together? Yeah. I think that they will not be able to keep these files secret. They might delay it, but the truth is coming out now. I believe that. Yeah, Kat says, I think they will. There is always someone out there with another copy, so they will have to. Yeah. Um, do you know who Fenrir is? Yes, I do. Now we'll see how we'll see how long it takes. It might take years. It might take years. But I think the main takeaway here is that these people are not smart. And the other takeaway is that there are other similar um, clubs, let's just call them clubs, that are yet to be exposed. And they need to be exposed. And for that to happen, everyone needs to be honest and they need to call it out. It's about integrity and it's about calling these people out, even if it might harm your prospects of a career and a wealthy future. So um, yeah, Earth Lab says that emails alone don't bring you to prison. They need more solid evidence. Yes, exactly, and that is why they need to bring in the victims and they need to protect the victims first of all, because these people are killers also. I mean, I mean, they need to protect the victims and they need to talk to the victims about what happened. And from that construct, what's it called in English? In Norwegian, tiltale, charge. I charge. They need to charge these people, every single one of them. They need to charge them with what they did to these poor women. Kat says, I wouldn't exactly call the fights boring, like Trump said. No, I think they're very much not boring. I think they are very interesting. Yeah. Yeah, Jeffrey says the documents give lots of leads that a good investigator could easily follow and corroborate easily. Yes, exactly. These people are pure evil. Yeah, they are. Barbara says he's mentioned about 4,800 times in the files. Trump is. Yeah, Jeffrey says, in one document alone, I found many possible leads to follow, very specific leads related to horrific crimes. Yes. Now, it's very easy to find and search in these the files that have been published. It's very easy to do that now. Yeah, hunting people. I don't know, but yeah, the Prince of England alluded to the mountains of Afghanistan. Yeah, I saw an interview with him, and he said something along the lines of, because he was in the military, they're up in a helicopter or something like that, and how it was almost like a computer game, shooting people. Yeah, that's disturbing. In Africa or something, they were hunting people. I wouldn't be surprised. I wouldn't be surprised, because I think so. I've read actually about the attraction to to children, like sexual attraction to underage girls, children, and that's it's apparently not so much about a physical attraction, but it's more about, it gives them a feeling of power and dominance, and they really like that, these people. So you could say that, well, when they don't care about, when they're really when they are, when they don't have a problem with raping kids, they clearly do not have any empathy at all, and they only care about the power and the dominance that they are feeling when they do that. It's so sick. It's very disturbing, obviously, and but people like that, it's not so far-fetched to think that maybe they also would like to actually hunt people. I personally haven't seen anything in the files about that, but I wouldn't be surprised. I wouldn't be surprised, because that would, it's it's about making people victims. It's about complete dominance over other people, and that seems to be the attraction. So, and as far as I understand it, these people, it must not be confused with, if you as a man, you see a sexy woman, and that's all, you get tunnel vision, that attraction is, it's not that. It's about their that yeah, it's about power and dominance, and that's the attraction for them. So yeah, it's sick. It's so sick. You heard that? Yeah, yeah, yeah. Let's see. Princess Sophia, yes, Princess Sophia of Sweden was mentioned in the files. But I don't know the details there, but being mentioned in the files is, of course, it's almost not necessary to say this, but um, it's not the same as being guilty of anything, being mentioned in the files. Listening to is soothing. Well, really, even when I talk about disgusting things like this, um, yeah, just the official says dominance over innocent. Yeah, yeah. No, so I think that you have these circles, these clubs, that there are several of them. This was one of the biggest, probably, but you will find similar in Africa, Asia, Europe, the USA, and yeah. Yeah, Jeffrey says in the files there are many news stories about all sorts of people, so you have to actually read the files to see what it says. Yeah, and what it seems like the journalists are doing is that they are looking for correspondence, not just being mentioned, but correspondence. That's what caused this scandal with the Norwegian crown princess, for instance, because she's calling him love and all of that, and of course the biggest single thing that she writes, I googled you, it doesn't look good, smiley face, wink wink. So we know that she's been lying when she said that she didn't know. Of course she knew. Of course she knew, you know. Yeah. There were a number of dentist chairs on Epstein's Island too, photographed. I haven't seen that. That's. Oh, maybe he had a private practice as a dentist. Oh, I don't even want to think about what they did, but there are some messages about torture and yeah. Um, Again, it's evil. These people are evil. Uh, and I don't even want to think about what they have done. Like apart from the obvious rapes, you know. I don't. I mean, have they killed people there? I actually wouldn't be surprised. Now, of course, um, ultimate Barbara. I don't even want to read that. That's oh no. Um, Obviously, I believe a lot of these girls they have committed suicide. I think a lot of them have found that they could not go on, and in my mind, that's murder, the way I see it. Yeah. I'll just say this, a natural urge, at least as a man, is that you want to be in a position where you kind of end up in a room, closed room, with one of these people who have done that, and you're allowed to do whatever you want for half an hour with that person. Um, and it's like the only thing that would be stopping you would be that you don't want to break your knuckles, if you get what I'm saying. And honestly, that's what they deserve. That's a strange fantasy. No, it's not a strange fantasy. No, they need to have a good beating. That's what I'm saying. It should have happened a long ago. It should have happened long ago. If I had had that opportunity, I was guaranteed that, let's say Bill Gates was put in a room, and no, I shouldn't finish that sentence. You get where I'm going with this. Um, yeah, but we don't do that in a civilized society. So what we should do is that we should just put them in a prison cell and keep them there. Yeah. Imagine the time machine jokes in the future. If you can go back in time, who would you kill? Yeah. Um, yeah. No. So I think we will see what which new things surfaces. What we need to remember moving forward is that anything and everything that benefits these people, we should not take part in. By that, I mean, obviously, we should all boycott everything that comes from Elon Musk, Bill Gates, um, Richard Branson is the Virgin Airlines. Virgin Airlines. Say no more. um, um, it's like I don't have the full list of people who've been there on that island who were associated with Epstein, but if there's a movie star who is associated with Epstein and there's a new movie with that movie star, don't go and watch that movie. I won't. Um, and that's how we can collectively punish these people, make them bankrupt. Now, Bill Gates, that's an obvious example, of course. Many other ones as well. Um, so, but again, being mentioned in the files is not enough, And for me here, as a Norwegian, I mean, I will boycott everything that has to do with the royal family. Well, I have done for a long time, of course, and it's something that actually uh, affects me, boycotting that, because believe it or not, uh, one a few years ago, that was during while Epstein was still alive, and one of the main news outlets here described Crown Princess Mette-Marit as one of the biggest, greatest thinkers of our time. You couldn't make this shit up, even if you tried very hard. But she's been like a protector of organizations uh, for women's health and protection for Red Cross and so on, and they're now evaluating whether she should continue being that. um, and also she's been like her big shtick is being interested in books and literature, and I'm a novelist, so I could have risked being interviewed by her. And I made a decision a long time ago that I'm not going to be fucking sitting there on the stage being interviewed by the Crown Princess Mette-Marit, because she's only there because she's the Crown Princess, you know. But I was never asked. I have been interviewed on stage several times, but I wasn't asked to do that. But if she continues as crown princess and she somehow gets back to that position, that's a funny word in this context, by the way. I don't think that will happen, but it's like, I think I will not be the only author who will say go to hell when we are asked if we will be interviewed by the crown princess, you know. So so let's see her. Sami says Danish King Frederick has also been mentioned in the files. Yeah. Yeah, and don't vote for them. Don't vote for them. Kat says, yeah, don't vote for them. So you don't vote for Trump. You, well, if he is, well, Trump, that's, you don't vote for Trump again, but I don't think he will be running again. That's, yeah. But it's a crazy world now, so who knows? Don't vote for any of these politicians. Don't do it. They are not good people. They don't care about you. So, yeah. Has Knugen been mentioned, though? Knugen, that's what we, a derogatory term used for the Swedish king. I don't know. Trump can't run again. Well, I'd said that because they are talking about that, but I don't think he will be mentally or physically able to for that. Let's see here. U.S. Secretary of State Antony Blinken is the stepson of Robert Maxwell's best friend and attorney. Father is Ghislaine. Father is Ghislaine. Ghislaine is the daughter. All just a coincidence. Yeah. Yeah. Okay. I have nothing more to say right now, and I am, yeah, we'll get back to these things. Nalan, greetings from Turkey. Well, hello there. Greetings from Norway. I'm just finishing this live stream now, but Yeah, we will get back to this. Sadly, what we have seen so far is just tip of the iceberg, you know. So, okay. Have a wonderful day or evening. We will talk later.